Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this crazy-ass show that you have grown to love, Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence.
Hey, everybody.
Happy Monday, everyone.
We have all the ladies.
That was the appropriate response.
We have all the ladies back tonight.
I know. Look at us.
Yay.
Full team.
Yes.
And Sheree and I look like matching paranormal figure skaters.
No, we have a
Get your stand up. As I said, they looked like a dance team.
Yep,
from
they
like
sure do.
America's Got Talent.
Tony had to come in here, man. That one sent me out of my chair. You got it.
Well, I don't see. She doesn't even get up. I'm gone, showered, dressed, out of the house. So she didn't even open her eyes. Well, I gave you a goodbye kiss, but she didn't open her eyes. And then I get home, and she sits down next to me, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, what the?
I know. You were also wearing same color black pants.
Yeah.
How
Not the
cute.
same pants, the same
Aw.
color. Just clear.
Now, if Tree had her EVPI hat on, it would be even better. But I will give you a compliment, Tony. You do not look like a male figure skater.
I'm good.
But you do look like a male figure.
Oh, that helps.
If you did, I'd have been busting your balls about it a long time.
Yeah. Well, the glitter's in the back of the shirt. That's probably.
All the sequins.
Yeah, it's got TR on the back of the shirt and glitter.
Anytime Sheree made EVPI hats, shirts, she's like, "Do you want a glitter one?" I'm like, "No, I don't want anything that glitters." No.
No.
That's funny.
Okay, I didn't say glitters.
Yes, you did. Sparkles. It was something like that.
Shiny.
Shiny, a
Sparkles.
little bit shiny. There are some guys that wears like shiny.
Yeah, some guys are.
Some guys
Yeah. Yes,
all
there
the
are.
long-
I don't need any sparkling EVPI. Thank you.
geez.
Yeah, Roger said it. Bedazzled. Look at it. Roger's there. Moses.
Yes, bedazzle. Where
That's
is that?
the term I think she used. She goes,
Yeah.
"Don't you want EVPI bedazzled?" No.
Yeah. Let me help you out on that one, Sheree. The only person that wears shiny shirts and dances or performs is Ricky Martin, and I don't think Tony falls.
Not the pronouns I want to use.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Living La Vida Rathman.
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with Ricky Martin. He's living La Vida Loca, but not the La Vida Loca that Tony wants to live. So
Correct. Yeah, nothing against him, just not what I want.
I'm gonna find some shirt or clothes. You have a sequence outfit. I'm gonna post it on Facebook. Seriously. Tonight.
What piece of clothes do I have that has sequins on it?
You're wearing this white pants.
That was for an 80s party.
Oh, really? That's your favorite outfit?
Read the Facebook. Oh, that Facebook is dead. That one got hacked.
I still have it.
Oh, it's probably still up there, though. That was for an
And
80s. It says right on the top, 80s party.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Why do I feel like we can make a whole show out of this?
Okay, yeah, I'll stop. I'll shut up now. Sorry.
No. I'm not complaining in the least.
I'm having a blast just listening to this.
See, and we think we're funny when Sheree's not here. We're not.
But what I can tell you for the rest of the night, Tony in a sequin shirt is going to be stuck in my head.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Glittercom.
Glitter.
Uh-oh. Jack's mad.
That's fun. So what you guys do last week?
I always gotta think, what the heck
I know.
did we do?
That's how you know you're watching a show of old people, because
Yeah, it's like, wait.
What did you do last weekend? And we all go,
Yesterday, so I don't know.
Okie doke.
We did
And
an
the-
event on Friday. Was it Friday?
We did an event with Rich Michelle's Spirit Art and with Lisa Morrison at her office in New York State. So we had an evidential medium, an evidential spirit art medium, and Staticom, and they read the group, and then we ran Staticom after a little bit, and then they read the group, and we had a lot of things that correlated between what they picked up on and what came through for us. It was really good.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, really, really good. And then Saturday we watched the Canelo Alvarez
Fight.
Munguia fight on pay-per-view, which we haven't had a weekend home to watch a combative sporting event. So that was kind of fun.
I slept all Saturday, literally all day. Got up.
Yeah.
I think we had got up for a podcast
Oh, yeah.
at like 7 o'clock.
Oh yeah,
That didn't happen. So I went back to bed. Woke up at 9 p.m. Hadn't slept for like a
Wow.
month and a half. Cherie watched like 5 movies,
Yeah,
but that was good for her too. So
That's awesome.
that's downtime. I enjoy
oh
that.
wow.
What did
So-
you guys do?
We went Saturday and traded the old gray Tacoma,
I saw.
which was surprisingly enough something material you wouldn't think would affect you that bad. But I actually had to go out and give the damn thing a hug because that thing has been at Phelps Dodge. It's been at Trans-Allegheny. It's been at the USS North Carolina. It's been at the Montgomery House. It drove us to Gettysburg. It drove us Gettysburg twice. It drove us to North Carolina. There were some good memories in that truck. Tombstone, San Diego. That truck's been everywhere with us. And we got a
sorry,
Huh?
I like how you say old. What was it? 4 years old? 5?
It's 5 years old. That truck's been through a lot in 5 years, man.
Yeah, it has.
But we went and got a new one. Got a new 2024 Tacoma. I am a Tacoma guy. This is my 5th Tacoma. So
It's sweet. It
Oh
looks
my
awesome.
it is an awesome truck. And then on Sunday, talk about being old. So you guys have seen my garage. I like organization in my garage. So I literally bought all matching shelving units for the front to get rid of the ones that didn't match and to organize my garage more. Well, I started at 8:35 and didn't finish till 6 p.m. on Sunday, and it was very warm and humid. And Audra worked inside the house. By 6:30 p.m., my old ass went into full leg cramp and couldn't get off the floor
Oh,
because I was dehydrated and overworked on top of it.
oh no.
See, I got to tell y'all, my entire life, I grew up with a man, you don't stop until the work is done. And I've been that way my entire life. I literally don't stop until you're done. You don't take a break. You work until it's done. Well, at 51 years old, that's not a good thing to do. I still don't stop until I'm done. The problem is I pay for it for 2 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to straighten our garage and get it all organized in 2026.
Don't rush into it.
Yeah, because he takes breaks.
There's one path you can walk and then hit the garage door to go out. Everything else is
No,
boxes, furniture, tool. Everything is a
can't even walk.
complete disaster because we just chuck stuff in there so we can get that move done.
Yeah.
Well, after 10 hours worth of work, you get to eat off my garage floor right now.
I bet.
Because you're stuck laying there and can't get up.
Yeah.
That's where I had to eat,
That's right.
from.
Just
yeah.
put the dog's bowl down for him.
Yeah. Audrey, heel, Chris, heel. Good boy.
Okay, I'll be
The
back.
best part is Audra's in the living room going, just stand up straight. And I want her, going,
Walk.
Just do it.
Leg cramps are the worst, though.
Yeah.
oh,
my God.
I had one the other night. I mean, I woke out of a dead sleep just screaming my head off. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
Hey, I rub your legs every
No.
time you scream like a baby or a girl.
I couldn't help it, man. That felt like it was
Well-
going to rip right through my skin. The skin was just going to
Our
tear
neighbor can
away.
hear him.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, screaming.
They're probably going,
It was my own damn fault. I didn't hydrate while I was working, so it's my fault.
Yep.
All right,
Hydrate.
back to our guest.
oh, yeah.
Yes,
We have a guest.
One, we promise.
we do.
Yeah, and let's real quick just shout. We have Ajing Sardi, Angela Patton, Jason Combs, Roger, of course, who
Melissa.
came with StreamYard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was an option. Yeah.
He's a
With your
permanent-
StreamYard membership, you had the Roger Martin's option, and we took it. Gio, Mosul Blackman, Todd and Chameleon, aka Carmela,
Go cramps.
Little Witchy, Raul from
Raul.
Tower Paranormal. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of scrolling back.
DOB.
Karen,
Everett.
305.
Melissa Blackman's here.
Jenny Amando. Everett said they did an investigation with Steve Gonzalez from Ghost Hunters. That's very cool.
Yes, they did the Whiskey Prison. The Southern Grace Distillery is not too far from here, about 30 minutes.
Little
from
Witchy, Maureen Little Witchy from
Yep.
our favorite Thursday night show, Dimensions of the
Is it a
Supernatural.
hand party?
Ash is here. The Big Red Pig.
Hi there. Mhm.
Love that name.
Big Red Pig. That's a
Yeah.
Here.
Right there.
Where?
Yeah,
Red.
that's an awesome name. You're never going to come across another paranormal team that has that.
No.
And that counts for something these days. I'm sorry, it does.
Angela Payton.
Well,
Yep. So we'll try to keep.
Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh yeah, Todd and Carmela, because her last name is Coco Tylo, and we all have trouble saying it.
Just call
I
them
call them Team Coco, so they got shirts made that say Team Coco on the back.
Awesome.
Cool.
That's cool.
But once again, I've nicknamed somebody else in the field, and it's stuck. There's been a few.
We can't say my nickname on here.
So tonight,
So
Yeah.
tonight we have something really special for you guys. This gentleman came on the show 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Has phenomenal evidence. He's a good friend. Ron's known him for quite a few years. Adam Knoedler. He's a well-balanced paranormal investigator with a healthy amount of skepticism and belief. He believes being on the autism spectrum has helped him being able to connect with the spirit world. He began his spirit journey in Southern California. He now lives up in the Pacific Northwest and doing investigations up there in the Oregon, Seattle area. Everybody welcome Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
Adam.
How are you guys?
Yeah, welcome back to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for having me
Mr.
again.
Knoedler.
I always love the way
Yeah.
Adam decorates.
He's on theme, man.
He is.
Oh,
He's
wow.
on theme.
All out or nothing.
All right.
Yeah,
Adam, it's been a while since you've been on the show, Adam. Why don't you and Ron tell how you guys got together, and then Adam, tell everybody how you got into the paranormal.
I'll quickly tell how we got together, and then I'll let him tell his own story, because obviously nobody can do that better than he can. When I started anything with paranormal investigation or ghost hunting, I lived in Southern California, and the young lady I was dating at the time when I first got into all this stuff, we were looking for public stuff, that people who were doing investigations, and he had the Pasadena Playhouse, the Devil's Gate Dam, Cobb Estate, just to name a few. I'm sure he can name more. And we would go to his investigations, and he would have like a 9 o'clock and like an 11 o'clock. And we go, let's go to the late one, because if the early one's good and things are happening, he still has to wrap it up because there's another group coming. But if stuff's happening on the late one, we can go all freaking night, right? So we would go to the late one, and sometimes nobody else came except she and I. And he would go, all right, well, let's do it. And he would do the same top to bottom, full investigation, cut no corners, whether he had a group of 20 people or just us. And it was awesome. So one of my introductions into the ghost hunting field and learning how to do this stuff out in the field was on Adam's event. And he did great work with public events. I mean, obviously he does a lot of other stuff too, but that was how I first got to know him, and we stayed in touch. But yeah, for me, this is cool to have him back on here, because this is someone who, when I was starting out, who I learned some of the ropes from.
That's awesome. Very, very cool.
How
So
did
now
you
go ahead.
No, guys, Chris.
I was just going to say, now we know how the Ron's connection is to Adam. Adam, tell us how you got started in the paranormal. That way you could draw Ron in.
Yeah, so I started off '07 after high school. So there was a place called Colorado Street Bridge in Pasadena, also better known as Suicide Bridge. And then it kind of just went from there. And then I discovered more hauntings in Pasadena. The next one was the Haunted Forest. I thought it was those two for the longest time. And then later on, I found out that there was a third location that's connected to Suicide Bridge, which was called Devil's Gate Dam.
Mhm.
And at the time, I was like, it was in a weird California book. That's where I got it from. I was like, Devil's Gate Reservoir. Well, it's probably not anywhere near me. No, it's in my own backyard. So that night, I went there, and that's when I got my first demonic scratches. And ever since then, the rest is history. And I've gathered data at that location since then, living in California. Now, when I first met Ron, it's funny because I thought he was getting dragged into it by his girlfriend at the time, and he didn't want to be there, but it was actually the other way around. So yeah, he came to the midnight tour, and then he showed up to Cobb Estate, Suicide Bridge, and he ended up being a repeat customer, and that's how we connected. And then made his move back to New Jersey, and then he came back for vacation in California, came to the Pasadena Playhouse investigations, and then I went. And Ham and I investigated with him and Lourdes at the White Hill Mansion, and that was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
One of the best ones I've been on. So yeah, that's how we got connected.
It's so funny because Tony and Sheree have been to White Hill. We have to get Chris and Audra up here yet. And Adam's also been to White Hill. So you guys that are on the west coast of the country area have been to White Hill. We have to get them to come. But you can tell just in a couple of minutes with Adam that he's got a very even-keeled, calm demeanor. We were at the bar in the basement area of White Hill just setting stuff up, so not everybody was paying attention. There was a picture frame with like an old flapper woman in the picture or something, like, you know, some dancing outfit or whatever. And the picture frame slid a few inches across the bar, and nobody was looking, but he was staring right at it. And he was like, "Did anybody see that?" And we were like, he got loud, which never happened. So like, wait, hold on, something happened here.
Someone was telling me to stare at that picture too, and it was like somebody had a little piece of string and just tugged it.
Yeah.
And there was a light reflection on the picture too, and I saw the light get out of the reflection. So that's how I knew it moved.
Yeah.
So I ran up and got the digital recorder and started running right there.
No, I need to investigate with Adam.
Sounds like a plan.
I love attention to detail.
Yep,
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so is White Hill. That place is you guys gotta have them get you up there because it's a treat. I mean,
well, Audra doesn't know yet, but I'm planning a trip up next year. So
very cool.
Yeah, don't tell her.
Yeah, but she won't know now.
She might veto it. But right now, there's no chance she'll veto it because she doesn't know.
Right.
Here's the best part. She'll go ahead and go, and I'll go, we have one vehicle. You gonna Uber to work? All right, Adam. So without a doubt, you've sent us some stuff. Last time you were on the show, you had some of your stuff from California. You've sent some stuff in from your Pacific Northwest, and man, you don't disappoint ever. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one. The first one, Oregon State Hospital. Go ahead and tell us about that one.
Yeah, so one of Oregon's most historic locations, obviously. Just like any other mental institution story, started becoming overcrowded with mental patients, criminals, a lot of death there. They have a memorial with a lot of unclaimed remains, cremains. Mm-hmm. And the museum is open, and they have a lot of the medical stuff that's still there now out on display. So decided to use one of the newer ghost tube seer devices. This is the artificial intelligence device, and this it's amazing because it picks up on the algorithm of the environment, and in my opinion it gives clues to what's there. And I was walking around with that device. At first, it was giving forms of art therapy because that's what the patients did with their mental problems, is that art therapy was a form of, getting their mental problems out there. And it was the artificial intelligence app was coming up with that. And then there was one image that popped out in particular, which in my opinion gives like the inside of a patient's mind, I thought.
Wow. So, how messed up do you think a facility has to be to have unclaimed body parts? How does that happen? Does the janitor come up and say, "I found 3 arms and a kidney"? But seriously, I mean, how does that happen?
Well, it sounds like this Oregon State Hospital is the equivalent to Trans-Allegheny, where they have 12,000 recorded burials in the property, but they've found over 20,000 unrecorded. So
Okay,
it sounds like it's pretty similar of a location, which makes me want to go to Oregon.
Check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a visit.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Here we go.
Is this what the inside of a mind of one of the patients looks like here?
No, that's creepy.
Wow. Love the architecture of the building, though, and how cool to be able to take a couple of the rooms and show a little bit of the history, the back photos, along with the original equipment that was in there. Would have been nice to have done that to Phelps if the roof didn't leak every time it rained.
Yeah.
The roof didn't fall in.
Here's what's crazy is so Trans-Allegheny was built out of wood. It looks like Oregon State Hospital was built out of brick.
The first one was built out of straw. I don't know if you know that. And then
And I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll... What's amazing though is that the style and the look of the building is almost identical
to Trans-Allegheny. Yeah.
It makes you wonder who was more insane, the patients or the people that built and ran these places.
Yeah, West Coast version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
West Coast version. So what year was that built? Do you know?
Like early or late 1800s. So
Okay.
I know it's like nearly 140 years old.
Which is Trans-Allegheny was a little bit earlier, but it was East Coast versus West Coast. So yeah, Trans-Allegheny was built in 1846. So if this one was around the same time,
Yeah, sounds to me.
yeah. Interesting how they said, "Hey, let's put a bunch of crazy people in here, treat them like shit for 200 years, and make it look the same as that crazy place on the East Coast."
No, yeah.
Crazy.
That's weird.
it's a cool looking place for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome work.
A lot of the workers, the volunteers, they used to work there too. But one lady's pretty much been on the property her whole life, and she jokingly calls herself the artifact of Oregon State Hospital. Strangely enough, I mean, they say that they've never experienced activity, but yeah, I had a different experience.
Really?
Yeah.
Or they don't want to admit it. One of the two.
Probably. I mean, they want to keep the reputation as a positive experience, so I honored their wishes there. But yeah, I mean, another one was the ghost box that I used throughout the museum, and what the sounds that were coming through, it sounded like the electroshock therapy that they used to get. I got that 3 times.
Sounds like a residual positive experience to me.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, especially positive.
Right. Yeah. All right, Adam. Next one we got is the Hotel Oregon. You want to talk about that one?
Yeah, so this one was built in 1905, and there's possibilities that it used to operate as a brothel. no documented evidence, but hey, that's why we do what we do. People experience things. Just because it wasn't documented doesn't mean it didn't happen. And another big part of that hotel was there was a UFO sighting that happened there back in the 50s. So it's not in this evidence clip, but again, on the Ghost Vox, I captured what sounded like extraterrestrial communication from a UFO, possibly.
Interesting.
So it just kind of made this beep noise, and that's what it made me think, like a UFO was trying to contact me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
But yeah, this one right here, this is, in my opinion, this is a brothel worker. It's kind of self-explanatory. You'll figure it out.
Oh, now you got me in anticipation here. All right, let's take a look.
Probably in the bathroom where the woman in the dark dress is said to go into. Were you part of the hotel or part of this building?
Leather. Skill.
So it used to be a brothel.
History. Dirty.
Yes, it is a dirty thing to do. Not that I judge. Kiss. Huh. So what kind of stuff was done in this brothel? Did any kind of crime happen there? Is the woman in the dark dress, are you just around the corner over there?
Disease. Trapped.
What, did you capture a disease from what you were doing? Do you remain here because you're not proud of what you did?
Arms. Give.
No judgment here. All right. Or anything that you wanted to tell me? Loving. Well, I'm here to listen, so did you feel you were doing a loving act? D. What do you mean by D? Down.
Good Lord.
Very active. Yeah.
Yeah.
50 Shades of Grey active. Good God.
That's another. There's establishment here in the Pacific Northwest called McMenamins, and they like to buy historical buildings and turn them into their business. And they all have ghost log books. And one of the stories there in room 306 is that there's a woman in the dark dress said to be in the bathroom.
That's a good question, though, that Roger asked, because I don't know if anyone else heard this, but right when he said is there a woman in the black dress, and then kind of moved the camera, there's a voice right after you asked that. And it sounded female to me, but I'd have to hear it again to be 100% sure. Did anyone else hear that?
No.
Heard it. Yeah, I heard it.
You did hear it? Okay.
Yeah. Of course, I've seen it 3 times too. So,
Adam, so then 2 questions. One, you were alone?
I was in the bathroom. Pam and the women that we work with, Sinister Coffee and Creamery, they were with us. So they were in the adjacent room.
Is it possible that was one of them?
I think that's probably what you heard.
Okay. And the other question I had was you were running 2 Ovilus devices, correct?
Yeah, 3 and 4.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is a perfect a clip to show that, you know, Ron has said this numerous times, and Tony and Cherie and Lourdes have talked about it too, and Audra. It doesn't matter what device you're getting; it's timing, relevance, you know, and consciousness that we look for when we get. I mean, timing, relevance. You got your brothel. You got a direct answer to some of the comments. What did you do here? Dirty. Yeah, dirty.
I know. History dirty.
Yeah. Depends on your definition of dirty. But there was definitely relevance there. It doesn't matter what type of equipment you're using, as long as you're getting direct responses that are relevant to the questions. That was a perfect example of that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
And it sounds like it was a very active brothel, because they had details in there for you. So
Very specific details.
that's awesome. Not that the brothel part's awesome, but Relevant to the evidence, y'all.
It's
That's
the oldest.
right.
Audra smacked me when I said, "Boy, I can't wait to hear this evidence." And she smacked me under the table. She's like, "What? You want to go to brothel?" No, I want to.
The oldest business on the planet, right?
That's right.
You got to open that up with a pizza place, all in the same things. Call it Domino's.
And I don't care, male or female. When somebody goes, "I did an investigation at a brothel and I got some confirming evidence," everybody goes, "Oh, really?"
That's a good question from
from Raul.
Raul. Sorry, I have to say it that way. Raul from Tower Paranormal. Does one of the Ovilus devices work better than the other?
I mean, they're both pretty good. I mean, Obvious 3 has gained a pretty good reputation for being one of the best ones, but I mean, Obvious 4 also, I mean, it's got a lot more words, the Obvious 4 does, but I mean, Obvious 3, even though the words are limited, it seems to be very, very accurate. So one of the locations, one of the pieces of evidence that I'm going to show you is the Ted Bundy dumping grounds, and I had 3 and 4 out for that one. And the Obvious 3 was being very specific, like, are the Jane Does here, and then it says killed. And then electric, and Ted was killed by the electric chair. Stuff like that. You can check that out on our YouTube channel, see that investigation.
It's really awesome that you brought that up, because you actually led into your next piece of evidence as I laid it out. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that, since Adam set it up so well. It's like I prepped him for the show, but I really didn't, I swear.
In tune.
He is in tune. That's right.
There you go.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that Ted Bundy's dumping grounds. Here we go.
Quick burst EVP session right now. I wanted to see if we got into contact with anybody during the spirit box session. Did you say everything that you wanted to say? Are the Jane Does buried around here somewhere? Denise, were we speaking with you earlier? Is that you that we were talking to? We're doing a quick burst EVP session right now. Are the Jane Does buried around here somewhere? Come here. Thanks. So I kill everybody.
Thank you. Goodbye.
It sounded just like near the end of his life when he confesses to the crimes and he whispers to him about where the bodies are hidden. That's what it feels similar to. That's really weird.
Wow.
Okay, that's creepy as hell.
Yeah, man.
That was a good EVP, man.
Thanks. Yeah, that was just like a spurt of the moment type deal. Pam and I were there for 4th of July weekend, and I wanted to check it out. We were in Essequa near those dumping grounds, and I had all my equipment with me, and I was just like, I don't think anybody has ever tried to do anything there.
Oh, wow.
Like my instinct was telling me, and it's like, I remember we were watching the Ted Bundy tape documentaries, and now there were Jane Does. And I'm like, let's use the equipment and see what we get. And as you can see, that was one of them. And yeah, like, if you listen to that EVP and the tape where he's confessing to the crimes and he whispers it to the investigator, that's like the EVP and the voice sound very identical.
Interesting.
Oh, crazy.
Well, what's insane about that too is that was a real-time playback EVP, so that wasn't enhanced, that wasn't slowed down, that was in real time as you captured it. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And creepy all at the same time. So, question.
Yeah.
Oh, Ted Bundy. Never mind. I'm thinking somebody else. Never mind.
Al Bundy?
No, I got the two crossed with Dahmer, and I was thinking he was going to eat afterwards.
That's what I did too. And he was out in the dumping ground. I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't Jason there? But that was Dahmer.
Yeah, that was Dahmer. I got the two crossed for some reason. I don't know why.
It's similar.
It's funny
That's
because
why.
on other shows when we talked about people like Anthony Simonelli spend a lot of time doing cemeteries. A lot of people do outdoor locations like that. And historically, I've not done a lot of those. But when I did, a decent amount was in the beginning when I used to do stuff with Adam a lot, because he had a lot of those locations in Pasadena. He seems to find these locations outdoors that have the history, that seem to deliver, and environmentally not a lot of distractions or contamination as far as, like, stuff you're going to pick up when you're trying to record other people, mechanical sounds or whatever.
Right.
Pretty good spot. So I'm not surprised that he ended up there, because that's pretty much on par.
Very cool.
All of the environmental stuff we're on. Going back to Calling Earth documentary, Frederick Jurgensen, he accidentally caught an EVP because he was recording birds chirping in the background.
Mhm.
Right.
And I don't know if you caught that, but like that EVP that I just showed you, there's also birds chirping in the background.
Yeah.
Ambient noise.
Yep. Great documentary.
Noise. Yeah.
Calling Earth. And yeah, and then that's Jurgensen is not only one of the forefathers of all voice phenomena research, EVP, but he is the father of direct radio voice. Right. Even though Marcello Bacci made it most famous. And so what we do, this Staticom business, is derivative of that. So yeah, that's the guy for whom he's got some pretty strong shoulders, because he's got at least us four standing on him with this Staticom stuff.
Thank God Cherie and Lourdes are little. You got 4 people standing on your shoulder. No offense, Tony.
Yeah, he balances it out. Tony's like the 2 ladies and me combined on one shoulder. Tony's on the other shoulder. But that's really cool, though. Adam does find really good places like that. I don't think it took him very long, right? When you got to the Pacific Northwest from Pasadena, it didn't take you very long to establish a few locations that you thought would be fruitful.
No, and also, I mean, we had family up here already, so when I came up here for vacation a couple of times, I was already scouting it out.
Oh, there you go.
So, I mean, there's a handful of good haunted places up here, and then kind of just started to track them like a moth to a light.
Of all the Pasadena places that you used to go to, or even at anything else near Southern California, which one do you miss having access, like a car ride away the most?
That's a tough one, but I'll say Devil's Gate.
Devil's Gate was crazy.
Yeah, the last time you were on the show, you had some good stuff from Devil's Gate.
It's really a unique place with a lot of strange history and strange happenings. So it's if you're a paranormal investigator, I've never been there, definitely head it up. You won't be disappointed.
That was, I think, the first one that my ex-girlfriend and I went on with you, if I'm not mistaken. I remember we're following through this trail in the woods to this like dark and dismal, and you're walking through this tunnel of a cave. I was like, if we don't come out alive, it's been nice knowing you. You don't know this guy Adam here that well. I don't know if we're getting out of this thing or not.
I mean, that's how you do it. So
that was a great place.
And because of Adam Ron brought up a very good point. A lot of people won't investigate stuff that's outside because they're afraid of the noise contamination. But actually, I mean, you guys have learned it with Staticom with the white noise generator, and we learned it at the Phelps Dodge Mining Hospital that ambient exterior noise actually helps you get more EVPs. And Adam does a really good job of it, doing it, out in the forests and at the Devil's Gate.
Yeah.
And now what you're doing at the Ted Bundy's dumping ground.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree within reason, though, too. I mean, you certainly don't want to bring your own marching band and choir to an investigation outside for the purposes of adding noise to the environment. Within reason, it does aid. Right. I agree.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that too. Because Audra and I have done that Totogany Cemetery in Ohio, where there's not a whole lot of exterior contamination.
Crickets.
But yeah, crickets.
Crickets.
But then we did one here in North Carolina where the damn cemetery was right next to the highway, and it was just almost impossible to hear anything. So yeah, it depends on where you're at. But Adam does a good job of finding these remote spots that are out in the middle of nowhere and getting some good EVPs.
Yeah, that I agree, he does. But what the external noise is makes a big difference too on whether it hinders or helps. When we did the Lost Soul Cemetery, that wind rushing by the mic, that EVP went right over that and perpetuated its voice with the sound of the noise. We were in Diplomat Hotel, that running water absolutely created a full white noise background, so much so that we could hear them with our own ears when they spoke.
Yeah.
So it depends what the noise is. If it's cars beeping their horn and people screaming, that's just going to be a distraction. But the right sort of white noise background, it can't be a foreground, it's got to be a background. Then I think it does help.
Yep.
Aaron had a good.
Got to use your best judgment.
Want to go back?
Yeah, Karen had a good question.
Yeah.
She had a good question.
Found it.
She said, "Hey Scott, hey Ert." Oh,
That one. Hey Scott, hey Ert.
I was wondering, how do you?
Spectrum helps you.
That's a great question. That's a great question too. Because I will tell you that Adam has been one of the most organized and unstoppable investigators since I started. He's always done everything top shelf.
So I don't know if you can see that question, Adam. It says, I respectfully ask, how do you believe being on the spectrum of autism helps you? She's interested in your thoughts. She has a young nephew who they also believe may follow your path, and she'd like to help him. So touch base on that a little bit.
Well, being on the spectrum, I mean, my experience is that you think very differently from other people that tend to be in the norm. And I just see things that other people don't. You know, when I was in high school and I thought that there was a lot of haunted places in Pasadena, I kind of just got laughed at and mocked for that, but I ended up being right. And right there, that's just gut feeling, instinct telling you that something's up. So I would have to say, but definitely listen to your instinct. That's like your best tool along with your sixth sense. Because like also in investigations, you'll hear like a quiet, calm voice asking like what questions to ask or where to go. So it's a combination of a gut feeling and listening to your sixth sense as well.
Okay. That's a fair answer.
That's a great answer, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also relates to how people with abilities actually connect.
Yeah.
So it almost makes me think that maybe the spectrum of autism that you fall into actually intensifies what would be a sensitivity or a medium type ability that helps you investigate.
When I first came across the haunted forest in Pasadena, this was before we had every answer available on the internet. So like I had no idea where it was. I mean, I would just like drive around at nights, and one night I just decided to drive all the way up Lake Avenue, the very top, and to my right I see this really creepy looking forest with a gate. I'm just like, that's got to be it. And do some digging, and sure enough, it was.
Interesting.
Yeah. Was that Cobb? Was that Cobb Estate?
That's Cobb Estate.
Yeah, he took us there too, and man, that place was creepy. There's a foundation for where the house used to be, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, there's nothing else from the structure. It's pretty much gone.
Yeah, so it's just free, and the owner was part of the Freemasons, and then you got gangland style executions happening there too. And that same house used to be a retreat for nuns, and the big story there was that a nun was sexually abused and hanged.
Wow.
Same history with Diplomat Hotel.
Yeah, they were beheaded though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Versus hung, but same.
Yeah, pretty extreme either way.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, and a lot of people, unfortunately, they confuse when somebody says they're on a spectrum of autism, they put a negative connotation to it. But when it comes right down to it, people that are on the autistic spectrum actually they're more mental than normal, I shouldn't say normal people, than your average person walking the street. They have a more mental, and it's a very common practice that people that have abilities actually use more of their mental capabilities than other people. So it's unfortunate that when somebody says they're on the autistic spectrum that people put a negative connotation to it, but unfortunately it's not negative, guys. It's
right.
Yeah.
And it's all different spectrums. It's all different,
right.
Spectrums.
Right.
It has its strengths and weaknesses, just
Right.
like everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. That's the way to look at it.
Yep.
It's true. Very true.
Very true.
Yeah.
All right. Adam, the next piece we got is the White Eagle Saloon.
Yes. So this location is actually labeled as Portland's most haunted building. So there's reports like this is also used to be a brothel too, apparently, and the prostitute was stabbed to death by her lover, and now she haunts the upstairs area. We don't know which room it is, but she's been around rooms 1, 2, and 3. And then a ghost by the name of Sam, who was adopted by the owner. He also haunts there because he was born there.
Okay.
So we believe that this is both spirits coming through on K2.
All right. Here we go. Let's take a look.
Who are we speaking to right now? Are you male or female? Any chance we're talking to Rose right now? Are you here? That cell sensor's really going off. Is this Rose?
Were there a lot of prostitutes that roamed around up here?
You saw that? It spiked up to yellow. How about Rose?
Rose, is that you?
Oh, okay. Hey, Rose.
Was that your real name?
Was it shortened for like Rosemary?
Did you know Sam, or do you know Sam?
Oh, that was a big one right there. Rose, is it true that you were murdered at the hotel? Was it this room? Or the one that's next to us?
Wow, that was a big spike.
Wow.
What was interesting about that is because of the close proximity of the K2 to the REM pod, but only one of them was going off. That I find that fascinating because they're both registering changes in EMF, but yet the REM pod, maybe because of locality around the antenna, there's only like a, I don't know, 6-inch, 8-inch diameter from it. Maybe that was one. But
if that, yeah.
Yeah,
so
that makes the most sense. Yeah, the REM pod, the antenna creates a field. If something breaks the field, something could register on the K2 measurement-wise. It's not necessarily breaking the field of the antenna on the REM pod, or at least in a detectable way. That reminded me too. I should have submitted it for the show, but maybe I'll make it available for afterwards. I remember we did the Glen Tavern Inn, Lourdes and I, in Santa Paula. It was one of the places I went when I lived there. That when we went back, one of the trips back to California before Adam left the area, we did Pasadena Playhouse, and he set this up for us, which was really cool. We did the Glen Tavern Inn in Santa Paula, which is an amazing location. It was one of my favorite out there.
Yeah.
And we were doing a regular hack radio ghost box. We had done other stuff, of course, like EVP, whatever. So Pam, who was with Adam, and then Lourdes both speak Spanish fluently. And they started asking questions and dialoguing in Spanish, and then the responses coming out of the ghost box were in Spanish, which was one of the first times I'd ever seen other languages coming through, and it was completely in dialogue with them. You weren't getting the occasional English or any other,
Wow.
Yeah, that was incredible.
That's very cool.
So Todd had a really good question, and I'd like to address it because, we originally come from Phoenix. We're North Carolina now, but Audra and I did a lot of stuff, and I did before Audra and I started dating, did a lot of stuff on the West Coast. And this is my theory only. I mean, other people might argue with it, but Ron and Adam, you guys have been on the West Coast. Tony and Tree, you guys have been on the West Coast. California seems that West Coast, anything that runs along that San Andreas fault line seems to be incredibly active. And I think that that fault line produces the energy that amplifies everything in that area. That's just my theory. But if you like, especially the Southern California area where you get the higher amount of earthquakes and stuff caused by that fault, it is insanely crazy haunted area. And the history is not there like it is on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something contributing to that. And that's just my theory. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
Well, Devil's Gate has a, like I said, the water from Devil's Gate flows to the Arroyo Seco to the LA River. So you got a water source coming from a supposed portal to hell. At least in the Southern California part.
Right. Tony, you were going to say something?
Well, I mean, there is, whether this is coincidence or not, I don't know. But I can definitely see why you would make that assumption based off of the number of locations that are in the area of the fault lines. I mean, even if you look at, and I'm gonna forget his name, Ron and Lourdes, you guys used to go there all the time.
David Ottman.
Thank you.
David Oman?
Oman. Yeah. That's it. Oman.
Yeah. I mean, there is some of the highest EMF readings, and science can't explain it. They don't know where it's coming from. It is off the charts. But again, that is in that San Andreas fault area region. So, there's assumptions to support that theory. And then I'm sure there's ones that may not support it, but there's enough of them that make you go, So is it a possibility? Yeah, I think it could be. It would be great to see somebody actually plot a map of active locations up and down or across that area and see if they dwindle as they get farther out, but I'd be really interested to see that.
Yeah, I remember that they said that on one of the shows that the Milligauss reading at the doorstep to David Oman's house in Beverly Hills was like 3,000 or 3,500 negative milligauss, and it was positive
at the bottom.
Case.
Yeah.
Right.
The back end of the house, it goes down 2 levels. Feel the change. You feel it on that bottom level, right? Adam, you've been there before too.
Many times. Yep.
Yeah. So there is something to that. It was an anomaly to the USGS. So that's great.
Correct.
Remember that.
Right. And it still is today. Yeah.
I actually saw an assertion on David Oman's house, and they said from the top floor to the bottom floor, when you get to the center floor, it almost gives you
vertigo.
Yeah, vertigo. It said some of the mediums and people with abilities that have been there said when you get to the center of his house between the upper level and the lower level, it almost feels like a positive and a negative magnet trying to force itself together. You know how it pushes apart because of the level of EMF and the milligogs that are coming off of his location, which is insane.
Yeah, it was something like 10 times the normal limit. I don't remember what the reading was, but that's off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for everybody watching that hasn't looked into that house, it is a natural occurrence. It's not something caused by anything man-made at all. It is a natural occurrence.
Because I think in the front of the house, the front door, the readings are normal. And then you walk in, and where the spiral stair is, that's when it changes.
I don't know if it was normal, but it was a complete polar opposite of what it is.
Like a complete difference.
At the back of the house, yeah.
A complete difference from a short distance. It's crazy.
Yeah. I remember we were asking questions. I don't know how we got on this topic, but we were asking about Mark and Debbie Constantino.
Oh, yeah.
Like a few years after their death. And like everybody's K2 meter set up on the table, all of them went off. We started talking about them.
Wow.
The possibility that, Mark was under a heavy demonic oppression.
Well, you'd almost have to have been, you'd think, with what happened between the two of them, which was very unfortunate. But you would have think that as long as they were together and as much as they cared about each other, there had to have been something negative involved for that to take place. But
Did you ever work with them, Adam? Did anybody else ever work with them? I did. I got to work with Debbie once.
Yeah, one night at Graber Olive House.
Okay.
So
I got to work with her at the Glen Tavern, and she did pull EVPs like crazy.
Yeah, they did that. I still have the recordings, so.
Yeah, I would say for me, still to date, David Ullman's house is the most consistently active, and we have some pretty consistently active places here that we go to, like the Shanley Hotel, White Hill. His house is just bonkers every time I've been there. Something of complete absurdity. Like we watched a picture frame the first time I went there, come off the wall behind the bar, full movie poster with a glass front frame. It had some heft to it, and it came off one hook at a time, like somebody was taking it off, and then started falling flat down to the bar.
Well, which is insane, because isn't he like an acre and a half, and there's a portion of the house that's connected to the Sharon Tate property?
His house is one of, right? Isn't it, Adam? It was the mansion was turned down in '94, and it was subdivided into 4 lots.
That's it. Yep, he's a quarter of the yeah.
I thought it was still there down the road, but I didn't know that.
No, it's still.
Yeah, he's not actually, like, his house is not where the Manson Tate murders happened. It's on the property, but
yeah, it's a portion of the property.
It's down from the gate a little bit, but yeah, that place is. He's got tons of stuff, even on his YouTube. Somebody walking through the exposed dirt room, and as they were walking out, this piece of wood spins, like almost like somebody hit it like that to go like this, and it spins like it was trying to hit him.
And the door, and the house next door is also active.
Yeah,
the house next door is
very
active.
Wood.
So
you were there for that?
Yeah, I was there for that. Everybody was going nuts over that video footage.
Really?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying my theory is accurate, but guys, you can find the location of David Ullman's house and where the Sharon Tate murders were, and then look at the fault line.
Yeah.
It's like less than a quarter of a mile away. It's crazy.
I mean, your theory makes sense. It makes sense. I can see that happening. I mean, we don't really know, but it does make sense. It makes sense.
And if we believe that energy amplifies paranormal activity, then good God, the energy put off by that fault line is insane. Recorded on the Richter scale, recorded on EMF devices, recorded at David Ullman's house. It's just crazy insane. Just my theory, but I can tell you that the times I've been there, my ex-wife, her father lived on the fault line just north of Santa Clarita, up by Six Flags. He lived right on the fault line. The fault line falls between the mountains by Castaic Lake, right there. Yeah. And some of the locations that we investigated out there were just crazy haunted, and it all seemed to. I started mapping it. It all seemed to line up right next to the fault line. It was follow the fault line. It was.
I used to live up that way too. Adam, what's that place that's up that way north of Northridge? It was. I'm trying to remember. It was like the last place I did before I moved back. It's not. It's a little village. And all the structures on there were not originally there. It was put together there for the purposes of kind of.
Oh, it's not Fort Tejon, is it?
No, it's not a fort. It's something village. I'll think of it. It's not important.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to the next piece of evidence. Next piece of evidence, Adam, is the Lakewood Theater.
Yeah. So this location, this is a newer location. And the theater owners have been experiencing activity. So I was in on Estes and got the response ghost. And then later on, the theater manager said that there was a play called Ghost that was performed there in the 60s. And we were in the basement, and I was investigating this boiler room part of the basement when it was a school. And the principal used to punish kids in there and put them in there alone. And so they were talking on the Paralight, Sinister Coffee, who I work with a lot. They were talking on the Paralight, and the Paralight was asking for me. And so I started talking to the Paralight, and it was giving tiny responses. And then I asked if it was part of that play, Ghosts. And then that's when this clip right here, that's what you're about to see.
Let's take a look. Here we go.
Are there others in the theater?
We're here.
Fun.
Fun.
Ghost.
Imagine that.
Hybrid. So, were you performers here? Were you part of the play Ghost in the 60s? Wow. Yeah. The Price is Right, folks. What? And there's nobody's on a walkie-talkie or anything like that?
No.
Wow.
That was insane.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Audra's over here going, ding, 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 we have a winner.
The Price is Right, folks, was awesome. And situational awareness. No one's on a walkie-talkie. First thing said.
Because
Right.
that'll set off a REM pod or electromagnetic equipment. So.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Ron beat me to the punch because we did an investigation with PPIT at the Trivet Clinic, and every time somebody keyed up on the walkie-talkie, all the REM pods, and everybody's like, "Oh wow, look at that response!" And we found out,
After just twice, really.
after twice, we discovered that it was every time somebody keyed up the walkie-talkie that it set off all the REM pods in every spot in the house.
Right.
So I love the fact that was immediately a question Adam asked. That was fantastic.
That happened with us too.
In Gettysburg, same thing. We were like,
well, I
"Whoa."
already knew. I had figured that out because we were in two different teams at one time, and they and I was in always use walkie-talkie, so I already knew. And so we were in Gettysburg or wherever,
Gettysburg,
and they go. Somebody went on the walkie-talkie, and they go off it, and Ron's like, "Ooh, ooh!" I was like, "It's the walkie-talkie. It's the walkie-talkie." Because at first you think
Queen Mary.
Queen Mary, yeah, because we communicated via radio, so everyone knew where everyone else was because the boat was empty. But we had REM pods, K2s, everything set up in the room, and we even had a film crew with us. And then somebody messaged me on the walkie-talkie, and everything just went all at once, and it was like, "Oh!" I'm like,
they're like,
"No,
no, not that." Yeah.
That's actually a very interesting learning experience. That on the Queen Mary with half-inch, quarter-inch steel, the walkie-talkie is still setting off REM pods. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because it's not having to go through the steel walls. Both radios are communicating within the confine of the steel walls. If one of them was outside the ship, it would have never communicated.
That's insane.
Yeah, I remember, Adam, you have also spent a decent amount of time there as well, right, at the Queen Mary?
Yep.
I missed going there. I used to go every month back in the day when I was coming to your stuff. If I wasn't with you, that's where I was. So I was at the Queen Mary.
Yeah, I'd love to go back. Miss it.
Yeah, we were talking about that too since it reopened. We have a trip coming up in September that may have changed to whether we can go this year or not, but that place was fantastic. I remember we were trying to use an SB11 spirit box in the engine room, and it was like there was no sweeping anything. It was like trying to sweep a floor with a stick. I mean, it just there's nothing grabbing nothing.
Yeah.
We need to stop using walkie-talkie in your investigations. Use your damn outside. Only somebody from New Jersey would understand what that meant.
Right.
Because in New Jersey, all we have is an outside voice.
So Antone, to answer your question about who is using a walkie-talkie, there you go. Who keeps keying the walkie-talkie? So in an investigation where there's multiple groups in a smaller location or even a larger location, You've heard the term tagging. When you walk by somebody's equipment, you tag yourself so they don't, when they're doing review, they don't go, "Hey, I heard a voice," but it was somebody walking by. You tag yourself, "Hey, it's us." Same thing with a walkie-talkie. When somebody in the group starts moving on a different floor, they key up the walkie-talkie and let the other groups know when you're broken up into other groups that somebody's moving. So one, you don't think you're getting paranormal activity, and two, when you're doing review, somebody keyed up the walkie-talkie and you're not misunderstanding evidence. So that's why
to review if something was caught, you can say, "Hey, is there somebody outside this door or down this hall?" Or
Yeah.
There's a variety of reasons to use it. Granted, because it does set off a lot of equipment, isn't the best tool to use. No, but in certain locations and stuff, it's a necessity. Otherwise, it would take you forever to walk the grounds when the grounds are huge. So.
Right.
No.
All right, Adam. The next piece we got is the Delaney house.
Yeah, so this is a location in Salem, Oregon, about 40 miles south of Portland. And it's an Airbnb you can rent out, and it's haunted. So it was owned by a former slave owner known as Daniel Delaney. Sold his slaves for $70,000 at the time. And there was rumors that he had gold in the house, like in the walls. And these two men came to steal the gold, and they painted their faces black so they couldn't be identified. So he was shot to death on his porch. And there was a little kid in the house, and he was hiding in the closet upstairs. And when the men leave, the kid testified against them, and, they served justice. I don't remember if it was the whole story. It's been a while since I've looked into that one, but I believe it was Oregon's first hangings, possibly.
Oh, wow. All right, here we go.
You're wondering if it is okay to go into the attic, the door that's over here. We're asking for your permission. If there's a way that you can give us a sign to let us know that it is okay, we would greatly appreciate that. Use whatever machine that we have or lights that we have to communicate with us.
Should we stay out of the attic?
Thank you. If it is not okay, you do not want us to go into the attic, you want us to stay out, can you please use one of these machines to let us know whether it is lighting it up?
So it's not okay.
It's not okay. There's our answer. Is it because you just don't want us to? Uh-huh. I couldn't confirm. If we went into the attic, would you be upset with us? I do not want you to be upset with us.
Wow.
Very nice.
I know they didn't use the actual REM pod, but I mean that temperature sensor seems to be a good alternative for the spirits. It seems like it's easier for them to use too.
Yeah, as long as it's in a controlled environment, yeah, that's a great tool. Yeah. And God forbid, don't go in the attic.
I know, right?
Stay out.
That was pretty clear, yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty clear message.
Yes, it was.
That is the first time an ATTIC is not a good thing.
I was tempted to. It was like the do not push the red button. And I wanted to push the red button.
Yeah.
He wanted to push it so
That's
bad.
that's the rebel in all of us, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you get one of those official forms from like a job or a bank and it says, don't write below this line, I go, okay.
Right.
I won't.
You just
But yeah, I don't challenge spirit on that.
That's fun. All right, so the next piece we got, Adam, is the Haunted Kennedy School.
Yeah, so this has been like a sleeper location because you don't really expect much from a school. But this one has really overcompensated. Absolutely. This is another McMenamins location that they renovated, and it is also haunted. So you got ghosts of children at that school. There's a little boy that runs around the women's restroom, and two ladies saw him, and it scared them to death. And then he wasn't there, and he was running, dripping wet.
Wow.
So I was walking with the ghost tube box, and I noticed that there was a picture of a little girl looking out the window, but it's a ghost. then I was like, okay, there's a purpose behind this painting. I mean, something must have happened here. And then you hear in the ghost tube box, he noticed. I'm like, yeah, I did notice.
Oh, wow.
So I'll let the clip speak for itself.
All right, let's take a look. Here we go.
Oh. You guys have wanted my attention quite a bit over in this room. What's over here? What children are here? Do children haunt the school? Several. Who's this right here? I did notice. Can you laugh at that? Yep, I know. So who are you? What's your name? Say Ali or Alice? Is that her name? Does she haunt this part of the What room? Or is she in the hallway?
That was a cool ass picture.
That was a cool picture.
Yeah, really neat
picture. So, you know, as far as the schools, because you said you don't really expect a lot from the school. So I guess in the West Coast, I really wouldn't know too much about, but on the East Coast, a lot of the schools are haunted because they used to use them for other things before they used them as schools, because a lot of the buildings are old. So some of them were used for hangings and whatever else, you know, they would do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
That was pretty cool.
I call that the skeptic's approach, when you don't expect much, because then they sense that and they're like, oh yeah, watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Lourdes brings up a good point. I don't know what people think. Hey, let's use this as a really corrupt, crappy place. Hey, let's put a bunch of kids in it.
Yeah.
Scare them straight.
You know what happened in these walls? You better be good.
Don't make me take you down that hall.
Yeah.
Well, and that's actually a valid point. If you look at over the generations, the difference that you used with children compared to today was a lot different back then. It was fear techniques. Fear leads to respect.
That is true. Yeah.
Compared to now, where some people are afraid to spank their kids because it's just not the right thing to do. Let's talk to them. I mean, it's generational how you look at things like that. And yeah, fear was definitely a big one back then. And maybe that's their thought pattern when they said, hey, let's take this place that all these people died in that are haunted, that got treated like crap, and put our kids in it, and maybe they'll straighten up.
It's great discipline.
Yeah. It would work on me.
Audrey's taking notes. Yeah.
See, those of us in this show are, well, except with the exception of Adam, are at the grandkid stage. You know what? Maybe it's time to start taking things back a little bit. All right, Adam, the last piece of evidence we have for you, bud, is the Vista Bridge. This one's a phenomenal piece.
Yeah.
Do you want to play it and then we'll talk about it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, here we go.
Is there a portal here? Where's the portal around the bridge?
Over here.
Over here. Is this portal why people have jumped off this bridge?
Are we standing on the portal right now? Tell me.
Is the portal on the bridge or under the bridge?
It's up. Were we there just now?
He always seems to find spooky bridges.
He does. Adam does great at that.
I like the voice that said over here. How did she say it?
Yeah,
It
the
was-
little kid voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my Colorado Street Bridge replacement up here, and it has a very similar story. It's taken about 175 people have self-deleted jumping off that bridge.
Ooh.
One of the stories is that there's a lawyer that used to like work near there, and he would hear people jump and hit the cement.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What sound is that?
It's the Ghost Tube Vox.
That's the app.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious of what sound that lawyer would hear. Is it like a splat or a? Sorry,
it wouldn't be a ding.
I know, but I did the ding because he did something a ding. I know it wouldn't be a ding, honey.
We watched a lot of cartoons in our day. Yeah. You could fold up like an accordion, stretch back up, and walk away. I remember, and Adam, I'm curious what your answer is to this. I remember when I went one of your first public investigations at the Suicide Bridge in Pasadena, that you would tell people in the beginning, because there was trails that went around that went to the wooded area below it with a lot of open paths.
Yeah.
The top of the bridge was very scenic, the way the uprights were and the lampposts, like an old style. And he would say most people here, or I don't know if you would ask them to raise their hand, but would think that the investigation is going to take place primarily on the top of the bridge.
Yeah.
But that you felt because of the fact that people jumped to their peril, that really the place to spend more of the time was at the bottom underneath the bridge. And then that's where most of the investigation would go. Do you find that to be the same at this one?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, for the most part. we've only been there a couple of times, but I mean, it's pretty active down there. So, I mean, we were doing some Ovilus work up there. Strangely enough, Ovilus 4 wasn't really picking up on much on top. But then again, like going down, I switched tactics and we just resorted to the Ghost Tube Vox and the artificial intelligence app. So, yeah, it seemed to. I mean, it's not that it didn't get any response on top, but I mean, I would say that it's stronger on bottom.
Which would make sense because you would think, they're standing at the top, they're thinking about it, they commit to the jump. The height of the energy and the emotion would probably be more closer to the bottom when they realize, okay, I really just did this.
Yep.
Yeah. So you would think that's where you probably get more responses from it. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, one of the artificial intelligence responses was an alcoholic drink. So it made you think that maybe they had a few drinks before they did what they did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's usually when people make their worst decisions.
It was probably more than a few.
Yeah.
Probably.
Wow, that's fantastic. The best part about that last clip is you've caught a great piece of evidence when the investigators that are with you have a look on their face like, holy shit. Yeah. That was an awesome part of that clip.
That's true.
All right, Adam, we've reached the part of the show that we call the shameless plugs. Tell people where they can find you. Are you doing tours up in the Pacific Northwest now where people can find you? And do you I see you got your TikTok. So spill all that out. No shame. Kick it all out there, bud. Let's all hear it.
No shame at all. So no, I have not done tours yet, but that's going to be changing, I think, very soon this summer. So I've been up here long enough and feel confident now to offer that kind of service to the public. So be on the lookout for tours up here, primarily Cathedral Park, the Witch's Castle, Lafayette Pioneer Cemetery, and then, I'll be talking to the McMinimans locations to see if I can work with them on something. And then social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Supernatural Investigation Unit, and then YouTube, Supernatural Productions, one word.
Very cool.
Very
That's
cool.
cool.
Very cool.
And is the documentary you did, because I know, and that you don't have to get into the whole thing now, but you had a really bad brush with like an attachment or an oppression situation. I know you had a documentary available to watch also that was really interesting. Is that still available? And you want to just maybe pepper that story out there so people are intrigued to go watch it?
Yeah, so go to Supernatural Productions. It's called Infestation, My Spirit Attachments. This is my worst life experience and my worst experience as a paranormal investigator. It started off with a sequence of events a couple weeks before where I was just experiencing health problem after health problem and going to the doctor and they don't find anything. And then one day it's just, I got to do something instead of going to the hospital, get my mind off of this. And then I decided to explore one of our Portland mausoleums here, which is something that I did back down in Pasadena a lot. And this mausoleum just, 8 stories high, but incredible looking place, but also just something very sinister about it. The energy there just, this is just personal opinion, but I can just feel evil in that place. And so I was walking around, got to the second floor of the mausoleum, and there was this corridor where I turned, and it was just all dark there. And that's when my gut feeling, my instincts and sixth sense came in and said, it's time to go. You got to get out of here right now. So I didn't argue or anything. I had to run up like 3 flights of stairs and exits on the fifth floor. And upon leaving, I forgot to disengage with the 4th dimension, disengage with spirit upon leaving. And then that's when something attached itself to me. And my physical, mental, and spiritual health declined rapidly. And it was a very long year. It gave me a severe colon infection that nearly killed me, but I recovered. And after that documentary, I went back and did an investigation of that mausoleum and caught some interesting things there as well. So, and that one's labeled as the Infestation Mausoleum. So anybody that wants to get into this, it's mandatory. I think it's mandatory that you know about this, because you don't want your life ruined on any means.
Yeah.
Good advice.
It's very good.
I have a question, Adam.
Sure.
Do you have some kind of a protection for yourself before you go to investigation or after investigation?
I always call upon Archangel Michael. If I sense anything evil in the area, that's the prayer that I go to. But this is what my friends at Sinister Coffee and Creamy, Michelle and Kelly and their son James, they made this protection bracelet for me. So I got to wear that during investigations. But Archangel Michael prayer, whatever religion you are, if you can find something equivalent to that and you believe in it, use it.
Yeah, that's what.
Because it is important. It is important for people to know that story. Because even though it's not a common thing that happens, but it does happen, and you can be greatly affected by it. And it is important to know about these things.
Yeah,
and how you should protect yourself. Yeah,
very true. More importantly, in that documentary, it also happened. That kind of thing also happens to non-believers as well.
Oh yeah.
So the psychic that was on my Harvey, that was on the documentary, was helping a friend out. He was a cop. He doesn't believe in anything paranormal, but he was pulling somebody out of a burning vehicle, and he got a spirit attachment that way.
Yeah.
And so his whole perspective changed on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in our audience too. Victor Tuning said that he's been jumped on as well. Not pleasant. Yeah. And then Courtney Peterson. I don't know if you know Courtney Peterson, Adam. Courtney Peterson is one of the greatest supporters of all things paranormal in our field. So she put a link to your YouTube. There it is.
Look at that.
in the chat.
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Hired girlfriend.
Yeah, she's
Our
the
new
best.
marketing director, Courtney Peterson.
She's everybody's marketing director. We need to.
She is phenomenal. Yes, she is. She shares every show to every page, every day. The girl, do you do anything but sit on here and watch paranormal crap? No, Courtney is fabulous. She is phenomenal.
She's subscribed also. I remember when I used to do Adam's public events when I was starting out. I remember he would have, before he would let you go home, at the end of the event, they did a little prayer thing, and they would do the sage and outline the whole, like, you know, they did stuff to make sure that they felt like they were sending you off clear.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really
And also, in my opinion, and that's not to say that when you have an infestation or an attachment that it's demonic. There's a lot of people out here in the world that are not demons and they want to do you harm. So you can have someone, you know, an entity that attaches to you that is just really bad and negative and wants to do you harm.
Yep. So I refer to it to the groups that we always do anything that we're a part of. I do a blessing before, I do a blessing after for everybody. And if we don't have the time, we leave at separate times. I'll go out and actually bless people's vehicles. We did it Trans Allegheny. And I call it the pine tar, like pine tar and a bat during baseball. It might not be something you take home with you. It might not be a spirit, but you still take that residual energy with you that it's like a pine tar. It sticks to you. You got to cleanse. You got to get rid of it. People don't realize, normal people in their day-to-day process don't realize how normal the paranormal actually is. You know, we call it paranormal, but the biggest focus is normal. The paranormal is actually the normal part of what we do every day. It's just most people don't recognize it or don't want to recognize it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to protect yourself every day, whether it's with faith or spiritualism. You don't have to go to church, but you do have to believe that there is a higher power with good behind it, and make sure you protect yourself no matter what you do.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fantastic, Adam. We really love having you on, bud. It's been too long since we had you on, so it was nice to have you back on again.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I can do that. Watch.
We covered 2 regions. We went from southern West Coast to northern West Coast. That's phenomenal. Look at that, y'all. Adam is spending his time traveling. Next thing you know, Adam will be in the upper Midwest. Then he'll be in the upper East Coast.
We got to get him back. We got to get him back over here.
Got to get him back. Yep.
I'll be in your room. That would be creepy. No.
What do we all do that's not creepy? All right, guys, we appreciate you coming out. We appreciate you spending time with us. We appreciate you giving the love that you have given to Adam, because Adam is a phenomenal investigator. He contributes a lot to the paranormal community. I mean, look at Ron Iacovetti started with the gentleman you see over here named Adam.
One of my first mentors in the field of paranormal research and ghost hunting. Right here.
That is phenomenal.
I can't get that whole screen thing screws me up.
Yeah.
And for those of you watching, Adam looks like he's 32, but he's actually 184.
I age gracefully.
That's fantastic.
There's an old painting of him in a closet that's aging.
Yeah.
That's older.
Extraordinary
That's
gentleman. Phenomenal.
Yeah, Adam's a good dude, man. He's been doing this the right way with the public, and obviously, you know, with his own endeavors for quite some time. And so he's definitely one of the reasons to be proud that you're in the field. He's a good dude.
That's right. And the fact that he's gone up the West Coast and he's spreading his knowledge and what he knows to people up in this Pacific Northwest is phenomenal too. So that's awesome.
Agreed.
Yeah. So go to his social media and sign up and sub and everything like Courtney Peterson. And by all means, if you're going to be in his neck of the woods, let him know. Because when we told him we were going to Pasadena, he was still there. He set some stuff up.
He did.
He did.
He'll take care of you.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you all for coming out. It was awesome seeing you all once again this week. Tuning in to watch Adam. You're not here for us. You're here for him. Be honest.
I mean, why wouldn't they be?
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey guys, remember if you want to go to locations out in the middle of the woods and catch EVPs because birds are chirping, or catch that splat sound at the bottom of a bridge, you have to hang out with Adam. You got to investigate, but most of all, guys, you got to stay haunted. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you next week. Can you give me a name? What's your name?